Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome back to the series where you are unfortunate enough to watch my gameplay as we talk about the machines, which this week around will be another one of my favorites, the T20 Tier 7 American medium tank. Now all of this said, today's replay might actually be to your liking, with 9 kills and a lovely 1 vs 4 finish. Now I played this match just last Monday on stream while platooning with Bob for a few games, so if you were there, you know what's coming. And if you don't and want to check it out right now, there is a timestamp waiting for you in the description below. But let's get started. Regarding the history of the tank, there won't be a separate article on it this time around on the Wartime blog, because quite simply enough, it's short enough to discuss it right here, right now. So, T20. It was actually part of a series of medium tank concepts, including the T20, T22 and T23, that the US military tested out while trying to find a successor of the M4 Sherman. Surprisingly though, after reaching the prototype phase, actually neither of the designs were accepted, mostly due to issues with the transmission. The development was not a complete waste though, as it eventually led to the quite successful M26 Pershing. Now before we jump right in the gameplay, just a very quick word about the armor of this machine. It only exists on paper. Okay, well that's of course not completely true, but it's definitely one of the least armored Tier 7 medium tanks, which are not known for their crazy armor to begin with. The very edges of the turret can bounce a few unlucky shells, and the sides are thick enough not to get overmatched, but if you are trying to rely on your armor too much in this machine, well, you are mostly doing it wrong. Alright, I think it's time we leave the dry stuff behind now and discuss the pros and cons for this machine while dishing out a nice amount of damage in the background. Alright, so here we are in our T20, this time around in a standard battle on highway. Now before we start to talk about the machine itself, just have a look at this godlike matchmaking. Oh my god, this is probably the best kind of matchmaking this machine can get. But let's get back to the details. So, T20. As I probably mentioned before a couple of times already, this thing is certainly one of my favorites at Tier 7. Although purely by the stats, it really shouldn't be. But let's see the details. So, as you might be well aware, the gun on this thing has a pretty low rate of fire. It's able to fire not even 7 rounds a minute, which gives it one of the lowest DPMs at this tier. Hell, this thing doesn't even reach 1600 DPM, which is quite abysmal really, especially if you consider that other Tier 7 mediums are mostly around the 2000 DPM mark. And oh, by the way, getting spotted there means that there is somebody around the bridge down there, so let's get into cover, unless we want to get peppered by those scorpions, pretty much guaranteed to camp the ridge line next to the enemy base. But back to the gun on the T20. The statistics on it are kinda nice but not exceptional. So the penetration is 160 average, which is not bad. The alpha damage is 240, which definitely makes it one of the more punchier medium tank guns at Tier 7, but again, it's nothing exceptional. Aim time 2.2 seconds, it's about average. Dispersion 0.36, it's not bad, but again more average. Dispersion values are quite alright as well, so overall it's nice and punchy, but it has a low rate of fire. It does the job, but it's not one of the best tank guns at Tier 7. Probably why I like this machine a lot, because the rate of fire is low enough so it actually forces me to get back into cover. If you are overly aggressive with this thing, you just get yourself shot because you can't really fight your way out of fire. And whoa, we are getting spotted again, so there is still somebody there. Now that means we have to make our way to that water tower, which should give us ample protection from anybody in the middle or against the snipers on the cap. Even might have some nice side shots here, like that one. Sweet, first kill. But I'm getting distracted. So the gun, it's alright, it's nice and punchy, but don't expect to go ham on the enemies. if they are not distracted. Now, something that's really good about the gun is that it has the more or less stable 10 degrees of gun depression on the American line, which is always awesome to have. But what else can this machine offer? Well, it's certainly not armor, as we briefly mentioned during the introduction at the beginning of the video. This thing is one of the least armored medium tanks on the line, and well, the tier 7 mediums are not really famous for their tough armor to begin with. There is an opportunity. 12 artillery is barely sticking out behind the ridge. And whoa, it flies through this time, 0.36 meter dispersion. Not the most accurate in the game, but it did work out this time around. So the armor is alright against lower tiered opponents, mostly. And it can bounce a couple of shells, especially the sides can be a little bit trollish because they can't be overmatched, so in situations you can actually even side scrape with it. Not that I would be suggesting to rely on it. But otherwise, you are squishy and pretty much everything in this match will be able to penetrate us easily. Even the looks will be able to go through us. So, what does this machine have then that's going for it? Well, mobility is certainly one of it. I mean, I quite like the punchy nature of the gun, but what use is it if I can't get into a position where I can actually benefit from it? And that's where the T20 is just so awesome in my opinion. It has a really decent power to weight ratio, it's actually one of the best with 18 horsepower per ton, and the terrain resistances are not half bad either. So we get unfortunately spotted there as I'm a little bit too cheeky and we are getting nailed from every direction. Whoa, we need to get out of here and fast. Come on! Yes, that was an important kill on the T-150. The team is just melting away and it's starting to look a little bit ugly. I didn't even realize how far into the line of fire of that KV-1 I wandered. Maybe we can punish him. So yeah, mobility. This thing is great to get around the battlefield. I mean, it's not light tank levels of mobility, but among the mediums it's definitely one of the more agile ones. There's good turret traverse speed, good tank traverse speed, although that's only 37 degrees per sec, so if you want to address something with the cruise skills, I definitely suggest to get clutch braking on this thing. Otherwise, it's really nice. The way you usually play this tank is in a support role, and thanks to its mobility it's actually able to get into positions where you can get some flanking shots off, where you can support your teammates. Fortunately, Bob was a little bit caught out there. Shooting here at these Scorpions, I really should be using my HE shells. Maybe we use them later on, but if you have the opportunity to shoot at a Scorpion and you brought some HE into the battle, well, that's the perfect opportunity to use it. Unfortunately, Bob gets taken out there, so that means we are alone against a Scorpion, a Cromwell, a Hellcat, and an M41 HMC. There is the Hellcat, and the Cromwell as well, and can we get a shot in? Not quite, unfortunately we missed both of them. Now that's a little bit tricky, but I'm in a tier 7 medium, so if I play this carefully, I really should be able to take these guys out. Good shot there into the Cromwell. It was a low roll, unfortunately, so that means we have to shoot him once again. The bigger threat is really the Hellcat though. Oh, there he is. Well, that was a little bit light-hearted there, my friend. Now we barely avoid the artillery. Where is the Cromwell? Oh, there he is. Goodbye, Mr. Cromwell. Lovely snapshot there. This thing is not that bad actually shooting on the move, even though that's with the low rate of fire you really shouldn't take your chances that much. So far so good, but we are still up against the Scorpion, who was last spotted in the middle, and an M41 HMC who is surely pre-aimed now around this position. So, best course of action is to set up an ambush, see if we can catch the Scorpion. Now unfortunately, the plan is good, but the position is not the best. Because now I can only supervise the area in front of me, and if the Scorpion decides to come up on the other side, to my right, then he can easily get into cover before I spot him. And that's unfortunately exactly what happens. Hot damn. Oh, and he spots me as well. Well, that's really unfortunate. By the way, I know that HE won't be able to go through that rubble. I just decided to shoot it down so I can take out the Scorpion with my next shot. Although, in hindsight, that was a little bit cheeky because I stayed there a couple of seconds extra with artillery pre-aimed on my location. Luckily, I got away with it. He's unfortunately again behind some rubble there, so we waste our second HE shell as well. I mean, so far so bad. I have to play this a little bit smarter. Come on, artillery shell incoming. There we go. Luckily avoided, and now I decide, okay, well, I can actually take a shot from the Scorpion, so let's not take my chances before I get smacked down by artillery. So just move up, bang! 310 damage. Excellent, that's why you always take a couple of HE shells, exactly for situations like this. So as you can see, T20 can be quite useful. Get into position and then just not get yourself into a crossfire, but if you can engage your enemies one by one, it's actually pretty neat. So 8 kills secures, and now it's only the M41 HMC. Question is, will he be still sitting in the same position which he occupied in the first 10 seconds of the game, or is he being sneaky? Well, we will find out soon enough. Let's go for the cap and check out the usual artillery positions. Well, there are basically 3 positions where artillery usually likes to sit. One is around A7, A8, behind those bushes where also the tank destroyers usually are. That can be a little bit tricky. Luckily we have 6th sense, so we will know if he spots us. Otherwise, they also like to sit in that little depression in the lower ground around A0, which we will check out first. We don't get spotted here, so probably he's not there on the red line. And artillery can also sit around E0 at the edge of the city. Although here at these mid-tiers, that's usually not where they are. Now, moment of truth, and he's not here. Alright, well, he's not here and I haven't been spotted, so most probably he is not sitting behind those bushes either, behind the base. So at this moment, he could be at the edge of the city, but I decide I will not go and try to look for him. He might be running away as far as I know. So, it's time to camp. Let's force him to come. I can hide behind this house, so in case he tries to take a punt, I'm pretty safe here. He could still splash me, but I think I will take my chances. There is a lot of obstacles and rubble in this gap, so that won't make his life easier. Now, I don't want to sit fully behind the house because I want to be able to spot him as well, and he pretty much has to come from the direction of the city. Oh, there he is. And that is kill number 9, secured on the M41 HMC. So, this was the my ace in the T20. A great little machine, just as long as you don't want to be too aggressive with it. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that it can't be dangerous. 9 kills, close to 3,600 direct and 1,300 assisted damage stand testament to that. For all this carnage, we got ourselves a Radley Walters medal. I always seem to be one short of a pulse, damn it, together with a high caliber and a Top Gun to go with it. Looking at the team results, while this was certainly godlike matchmaking, I think it's safe to say that we did a bit of work for this win as well. T20 platoon superior. And last but not least, we fired 29 rounds in total, hitting 22 of them and penetrating 19. Low DPM or not, I always found that I'm able to get a quite decent amount of damage done in this machine, probably mostly because I'm able to get into good positions in time due to its mobility. Right, this was then my take on the T20, the Tier 7 American medium tank. I hope you found this little video useful or at least entertaining, and if you did, thanks a lot for considering giving it a like or sharing it. Up next, there is another Funny Moments compilation from the RNG Specialist Artilleries, and then it's time to chill over the weekend with some quality gameplay, this time around featuring a Batchat 25T and a Yak Panther 2. As for me, however, let me already wish you an excellent weekend. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again next week as well.